Is it warm enough? Okay. Now, somewhere along the line, when Don and I married 34 years, almost 35 years ago, I was always hot. She was always cold. I don't know when it happened, but somewhere them two ships passed in the night. I'm always cold. She's always hot. So I don't know if the two ships will pass again at any point in time or not, but that's kind of the way it is at our house. When we first several years we were married, all the cover would wind up thrown over to her side of the bed. And now every morning when we get up, all the cover's thrown over to my side of the bed. And it's not just thrown, it's used over there. But anyway, all right. Appreciate you being here tonight. I mentioned to you Sunday that we were going to try to get Greg and our sheriff and Don, and we're expecting Don to come in a little bit, but he had another engagement before this one, so if he gets here, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's okay too. But I wanted you, and I know most of you probably have met both of these men, and but it's just easier. You know, when people ask you to pray for somebody, it's kind of like names we just called out a while ago. It's a whole lot easier to pray for somebody that you not only have heard their name, but you've got a face to put with it, and you've got some sort of a contact to go with it there. And I wanted to afford you that opportunity if you've never had that opportunity to meet these two men. I think they're both good men and so worthy of our prayers. And I thought of this one verse, and you know the verse probably that I'm gonna read to you. It's Paul was writing to his protege and young Timothy, and he told him in the second chapter of that first letter, he said, I exhort you, therefore, that first of all, supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men. But then he said this. He said, for kings and for all that are in authority. And then I don't know what the punctuation was in the Greek language, but there's I'm not even sure what do you call this where it's a dot and a comma under it? Semicolon. There's a semicolon there. Till I didn't pay much attention in English class. But after that semicolon, he gives the reason why that you're supposed to pray for those that are in authority. And here's the reason, Paul says, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. That's why we do what we do. That's why we're to pray. Now let me share this before I invite Greg to come. They were not in a Mayberry RFD situation when Paul gives this instruction. In fact, the one that Paul is really talking about, having Timothy and all of the others pray for, it was not a Christian man, but it was Nero. And if you remember, Nero was a mean hombre. And he did all sorts of evil and wicked things and put a lot of people to death, and he would put different kind of blood on people, and then he would throw them into Colosseums and let the lions have their heyday with them, and they would do those things. And some of them they would douse with some sort of pitch, and they would light them on fire and let the burning bodies serve as lamps for the streets of the city of Rome. So that's the deal. And Paul did not say this not knowing what was going on there. He knew what was going on there, and even though he knew what was going on there, he said, you still pray for those people. So in other words, what we're instructed to do is we're instructed to pray for those that we voted for, and we're instructed to pray for those that we didn't vote for. We're instructed to pray for those who are Christians, and we're instructed to pray for those who are not Christians as well. So tonight what I want to do is just give you an opportunity to come, and I told Greg and Don both this morning that, you know, they could come and they could just share a little bit and kind of tell us some things that they'd like for us to know, and then when we get done with that, then we'll have a time of prayer for them, and we'll be done. I think new office takes January 1, isn't that right? And is this a new term for you?
No.
You're in the middle of one? And then Don starts his term on January 1, so there'll be a swearing in and all of those things for him. So anyway, Greg, you come, and most of you know Greg Sanches, and he's our sheriff, and you welcome him to our church.
Well, I don't have a cowboy hat on, so I am the sheriff. A lot of people say, well, you know, when I started to run, my wife told me, because being a state trooper, I always, you know, did a lot of the media and went to the schools and things of that sort. And I always, you know, of course, being a trooper wore a cowboy hat. And, but I grew up in the country anyway, so, you know, that was kind of part of the deal anyway. But anyway, as a trooper wearing a cowboy hat, my wife told me, said, now, you know, you're going to wear that cowboy hat when you're out there campaigning and run for sheriff. I said, I know it. And so, because everywhere I'd go, if I didn't wear my cowboy hat, they'd go, you know, they'd say, you're Greg Sanches, right? And I said, yeah. They said, where's your cowboy hat? I said, well, okay, I'll wear it. So, but anyway, a lot of times I enjoy wearing the cowboy hat. It's part of Texas, you know, and it's part of being a sheriff, I think. But I'm proud to serve as a sheriff of Angeline County. I'm on my 6th year. I'll start January 7th, starting the 7th year of the Angeline County Sheriff, and it's really been, I enjoy law enforcement. I've been doing it over 36 years now. I was a trooper for 29 years, and prior to that, I worked in the sheriff department when I was going to college, but and then now I'm back in the sheriff department as a sheriff. It's really been, you know, God's been good to me, and I love law enforcement and love serving the people, and you know, that's the thing about it. You know, this is an elected position. It's so different from any other law enforcement person that's over any, like DPS. They're appointed. You know, the director or the colonel is appointed by a commission, and the city police is appointed by the city council. You know, but the sheriff is unique. It is it's an elected position of the people, and that's, you know, a year or so ago when I was up there, you know, fighting for the manpower for the sheriff department, that's what I reminded them of. You know, it's of the people, by the people, for the people, and it's your office. It is your office, and I was serving. You know, that's the thing about being elected. You really, honestly, and I see that so much as now that I've been a sheriff, you have to have a servant's heart, or you're not going to be a good elected official in this job, because it does not stop. Like, if you're the chief of police or the director, when you leave the office, you go, you know, they're not going to get in touch with them. But with the sheriff, they're going to get in touch with you at home, when you get home, weekends, your days off, holidays, vacations, and that's part of the job. You cannot get mad about it or upset about it, and that's what you take on. But it's very demanding, and I don't mind that. I've still got the energy to keep doing it, and as you know, like I said, I love talking to the people, and I call everybody back. My secretary knows that, and all the people, I get on to them that they don't call people back, and because I said, hey, if they called you, it was important to them, you know, and so you need to call them back, and because I know how I feel if I go to a, you know, mechanic shop or whatever, you know, trying to get something, and I call them, I get upset if they don't call me back, you know, and that's the same way, you know, people should have respect. But I just wanted to kind of relay some things to you as right now. You know, the sheriff department really, you know, with the holidays, really there's a lot going on out there. Right now, you know, we've had a lot of thefts hitting the county again right now during the holidays. So be very mindful. You know, don't leave your keys in your vehicle. A lot of these car thefts, they're leaving their keys in the car, the ignition. They're leaving the car running. You know, I'm not saying it's right, you know, for somebody to get, you know, come up and steal your car, but, you know, you can try to help avoid it a little bit. But some of the other things is, you know, the burglaries and thefts and things of that nature. One thing that's really helping nowadays is that a lot of people have cameras. So I really, really recommend you have a good, lock system on your doors, but also the cameras are a lot cheaper. Nowadays, they're easy to obtain, and it really helps law enforcement. It also may curtail, a lot of your burglaries and thefts in your home if they know you got a camera. And but it's really been very helpful during this time. We've caught a lot of burglars and thieves, and so it's scams. Be very careful about scams. They really target young people and older people. They do it by telephone. They do it by the internet. It might be by mail. They call, a lot of them are calls and everything. They come up with all kinds of scams, but here's the thing you got to remember. There is nothing free. Nothing free. And all these folks that are getting ripped off, they're promising they'll do this, you'll get, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it may be. There's nobody going to give you anything free like that. And so if you get those kind of calls, just hang up on them. There's not really much you can do about it. Most of these calls are coming from other countries. Even if they are here in our country, they're probably going to be using phones, what they call spoof. They're spoofing their number, which means the number changes constantly. Or you call the number back, it's no good anymore. Or it may say it's from Lufkin, but it could be in another state or another part of the country, the world. So, honestly, if you fall for a victim of this, you just lost your money. Just gonna be honest with you. I've talked to the FBI, I've talked to state agencies. There's just not really much can be done. You can't hardly trace it back. And then another problem is that a lot of times on some of these crimes, it's hard to prove because you basically, were part of the problem too because you agreed to give them your money. So then you get into a lot of different issues when it comes to trying to enforce these laws. But they're going to pick up because the holidays are here. But be very mindful when you're out there shopping or traveling for your safety as well. A lot of, Texas, a lot of people carry guns. That's, or it may not that you don't like carrying a gun, pepper spray or some gun, but be aware of your surroundings. That's going to be the key, is being aware of your surroundings and what's going on. Our jail is really full. Last weekend we were at 272 inmates. We hold 279. We've already transported several prisoners a couple of months ago. And Lieutenant sitting right over here in Atherton does a great job for me. He's a good lieutenant, and he can tell you our jail's really been full, and it's going to continue to stay full because that's another thing. 3 years ago, I brought it to the attention of our leaders in town. We've got nowheres. I knew this day was coming. We're a big county, nearly 90,000, but really more than that. That's just what they know of. We're the hub. Ancillary counties where everybody comes to from all these other small counties. That's why there's so much traffic. We're also got major highways, so people are coming through here from Houston, Arkansas, Louisiana, and you name it. And so we have a lot of activity and a lot going on. But our jail's really been full. We had to transport 10 or 15 of them, I can't remember now. But anyway, 10 or 15 of them to Houston County, and the county has to pay for that. So it's costly to the county. And but here's the thing. We can only release so many people. If it's Class C charges, if it's, charges that are not violent, things of that nature, if there are people there that have medical problems, we try to get them out. But there are those prisoners that we can't let out for the safety of you and me. And I'm not going to let them out. And the county's just going to pay for it because I know how you would feel. I know how I feel. I live out in the country too. Or even if you live in the city, you want people being just revolving door coming in your jail and then released out. These law enforcement guys work hard to make these cases on these guys. These burglaries and these deaths and these, where it's murder or whatever it may be, because we have some of them in our jail. It takes time making cases. These guys work for months and months on these cases. And they worked hard to catch them, and then you put them in our jail, and then just going to release them back out there, you know, to the folks. That's not right. And so, you know, I'm not going to do that. And we'll just pay you. I mean, if we're going to, you know, that's something, this county is so far behind, we should have been on this a long time ago, but that's where it comes from, the public. You're the citizens here. You can support your sheriff and back me, because when I'm out there speaking about these issues, I'm speaking for you, because I live here too, and I want a good, safe county, and I sure don't want somebody released out of jail that's committed some major crime. And I know how hard these law enforcement officers had to, you know, to work on those cases just to make it. But now I realize on some of them, we're going, you know, the smaller type cases, like I said, we do have to release those. And if another thing you're going to see in the media, and I want to explain it to you, our medical cost has been very, very costly this year. We have spent over $155,000 on just medical, not counting our contract that we have with the nursing staff, which is called Southern Health Partners. That runs about $300,000 a year. That's for nurses and doctors for the jail. By the Texas Jail Commission, we have to provide that, because the jail has what they call the Texas Jail Commission that oversees county jails, 254 counties in the state of Texas. They oversee all the jails, and they have regulation and laws on us. So the jail has to meet, you know, these regulations. But back to the medical, that is something that we have to provide. And because, you know, you got to remember, a county jail is not like a state prison. State prison, when they go to a state prison, they are convicted of a felony. When they're in the county jail, there are people that are coming in. Now, some of them are in there serving some county time and some state time that we kept over. But most of them are coming in that are our citizens that are awaiting trial, or they got arrested for a DWI or other maybe small, and they're coming in and then they're going out, and then they're going to have to come back, you know, for a trial date at a later date. And it doesn't mean that everybody that goes to jail is bad. It's just that, you know, some people make bad choices, and because of that, you know, they get arrested and get in trouble. And that's why, you know, a lot of people don't understand, but when they come into jail, they have to, you know, if they're sick, we got to tend to them. And the laws changed about 2 years ago on the Sandra Bland Act that put a lot of pressure on our jails. And it's, a lot of that is dealing with a lady that died in a county jail in the state of Texas. And she had some mental issues and things of that nature. But anyway, when they passed these laws, it made it tougher on the counties. And so, you know, when they come in there, we have to deal with that, and that medication is very, very expensive. But some of the things that we face this year, we've had people that have been shot by law enforcement, or have ran from the law enforcement and broke their leg or arm or whatever. And so we have to tend to that. Then we had people that have had heart surgeries, heart problems, cancer. We've had some that they've had to take limbs off, you know, because they're real sick and they've got some kind of cancer or whatever it was that caused them to lose a finger or an arm or whatever. We've had to deliver babies. We've had other surgeries, hernia surgeries, believe it or not. And these are people that are in our jail. They had to be there for a long, long time. Okay, and we can't let them out. Can't let them out of jail. And so, anyway, when they come into jail, you know, they have these issues. We had to tend to it, because you know what's going to happen if we don't. And we said, well, no, you can just wait and see a doctor later when you get out or something, and they die in the jail. Now, we've had some people who got very sick and later did die, but we document everything, and we have a nurse staff that documents everything. The jail documents, because we know, you know, you got to remember, we got people coming in there with major drug problems and major health problems. They're not, you know, we don't deal with the healthiest bunch of folks that are coming in that jail. And so, you know, they'll go forever breaking in homes and, you know, doing crazy things and never go see a doctor. But once they get in that jail, all of a sudden they got to go see a doctor, you know, and the parents are calling and they want little Johnny to go see, you know, get some medical care. But The rest of the time, he never did. But now, he's got to. So anyway, we have to deal with that, and that's, I just want you to know when you read it, you see it, or maybe you don't understand why we do what we do, but this year has been a major cost because of medical costs. And it would be, let me tell you this though, that $154,000, thank goodness we have a nurse there 16 hours a day. Because when I took office, we only had a nurse there for 4 hours out of the whole week. You remember that? And the jailers were having to pass out medication. We don't do that anymore. And that right there has probably saved us a lot of heartaches just having them around, you know, for 16 hours a day and doing, you know, medications and a lot of other things too. And so we've come a long ways on that, but still, you know, you're going to have issues when it comes to health like that. And but a lot of people don't understand. We do have a good, I want to say we have a good JP judge that handles a lot of our people in that jail that do need to get out. You know, if we can get them out, that will cost the county a lot of money. And again, they're not a major problem for the society out here or for our citizens and things. He works well with us. And so we're very fortunate to have that. But anyway, it's just, it's been a very trying year. Oh yeah, I called around to 3 other sheriffs, and they're in the same predicament we are this year with the health issues and the cost. A lot of them are in the same problem. So it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of those times and, you know, the things you're seeing and, you know, everybody suing and all this other stuff going on and, you know, it's really crazy. But I'll tell you, the drug issues is, you know, and talking about drugs, I'll tell you that a lot of people say, well, do y'all have a drug, you know, task force? Well, see, a long time ago, you know, they did have a drug task force that covered, it was stationed out in Nacogdoches. I was a trooper back then. And later DPS was over that. And, but they worked many counties throughout East Texas. But now that's gone. We no longer have that. So now it kind of just fell back on the county. Well, as y'all know, you know, we had that big to-do about a year ago about the manpower. But, you know, we've been trying to do the best we can, and we have one guy that does our drug enforcement along with a lieutenant that's very good. Both of them are very good at what they do. And another thing, if you've been watching my Facebook, the deputies are doing an outstanding job. They're being more proactive. If you read the media reports, they are making a lot of drug stops for out there taking calls and then trying to, you know, handle the stops and catching people out there that are doing drugs. Man, they're doing a good job, and I'm proud of them. And so I think we've come a long ways there. And if I had more manpower, I'd put one more on our drug team, and also I put another deputy down on the south end. We have a deputy that is just for the south end now, and for Savannah and Huntington. And Don just walked in. There he comes. And Don's been, you know, Don got elected, and he's really. I want to tell you that he's really going to try to help law enforcement in our county, I believe. And I know he's pro law enforcement, and that's going to be good for you and me. And I'd like to ask if anybody has a question for me.
I got one, Barry.
Okay.
I know the answer, but I want you to do it.
Okay.
Tonight, how long is our county from one end to the other? And
Well,
while we're sitting here,
right.
how many deputies are working that?
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad you said that. The whole county, you know, it's 800 square miles. And so if you take from one end of the county to the other, you're looking at from Plum Ridge all the way to, y'all know Plum Ridge, you have to go into Jasper County and then back into Ansley County. But anyway, it's going to be 60, you know, or so miles from one end to another. And
That's line of sight.
Yeah.
That's line of sight. Driving it,
Yes.
it takes a lot.
It takes a long time. But here's the answer, the big one is, what he was asking, how many, we have 5 deputies on the ship. But, you know, on an average, we average 3 or 4. So you can imagine if you're on one end and the other end of this county, and a lot of these calls, they're gonna need 2 deputies to show up. A lot of these major disturbance type calls. And so that's one of the big issues, and that's why I'm standing up fighting so hard, because, if you look at the FBI staffing, and we contacted and got a graph of how to, if you look at the staffing of the department, how they look at it. Anyway, we're so far behind, and it takes so much money, they have sit too long and not done anything, and that's where Don, as a county judge, is going to have it. He's really going to have a big task, and that's why he needs prayer, and I need prayer, but because he's got a big undertaking. I'm telling you, because he's got a lot of things, not only the sheriff department to fix, but the DA's office, they're unmanned. They got so many thousands of cases, which kind of hurts them because that affects our jail. Try to move those cases and, get them moving so we can get them out of our jail. But also he's got, a lot of issues with county property buildings and just the list goes on. He can tell you more about that, but he's got a big undertaking. And it's not easy, and he'll, his deal, he's like me, is that we got to get out here and talk to the public and get their backing, and if they're not for it, then you can't do it. But if they are for it, that's why I knew the people were for the manpower over a year ago when over 100 people showed up at the commissioner meeting. The people have been very good to me. I'll tell you that right now, and that's one of the things that's kept me going. Or otherwise, I just, not ran this. I got to sign up at the end of this year, and then I'm gonna run. But if I didn't have the support of the people, it's just it's not worth it. But I know I do. The people have been very, very good to me, and they've been very supportive because there's some people out there that do not like the fact that I put the media reports and the Facebook and the issues that. But you know what? The government is supposed to be transparent. There is not supposed to be any secrets. And I've never have understood that. And I don't mind talking to anybody about an issue or a problem at the sheriff department if they have want to ask me why we do what we do. I can explain it. I don't mind explaining. But there's a lot of officials that they ain't going to do that. They're not going to do it. They'll run from it. But we should be open to the people and transparent. That's the way government's supposed to be. But we'll kind of get back to that. The public has been very good because they like the fact I put the media reports and the different issues that we've had. I put good and bad. I put, we have lost people. I've had to fire people. I've had to, since I've been there, we had to indict some. We had to arrest some. And do I like putting that out there? No. But at the same time, it's the truth. And it shows that we're taking care of business. That if we have a problem, then we're going to take care of it. That we're not going to hide it. We're not going to cover it up. We're going to do what's right. And when you do what's right, you don't have to back up. You don't have to sit there and be afraid, because people will respect the truth. They always will. But if you try to cover it up, then you're going to mess up. And you see that in Washington, D.C., right? And that don't work. And that's why people are so aggravated, because, they don't like it. And I realize I don't like it either. So, but anyway, somebody else want to ask a question? Okay.
What's scary to me is if you have a deputy on the south end of the county and he runs into a situation where he needs a backup, and the only backup he can get comes from the north part, it takes what, 45 minutes, 30 minutes to get there?
Yeah, it could, yes. Very well.
That's why we wanted you to have the extra people.
Yeah, you came and spoke for me.
Yes, sir.
And I remember that. And I appreciate that.
I know, but we want it to happen, and I think
Yeah.
it will done.
Yeah, I do too. I really do appreciate it. And, Lufkin PD has 35,000 people in the city of Lufkin. But the city of Lufkin does a good job. See, they take care of their folks in the city. Because they got, how many officers they have on the shift? 13. 13. And you know how many citizens we have in the county? We have over 40-something thousand, around 45 or so. If you count Hudson and all the other cities. Now, some people And if you'll remember a year ago, they said, well, those other cities, they got police. But what they wouldn't let us explain is, yeah, some of them do, but some of them are not working. Like some of these little small cities, at midnight, there's no police. So who takes the calls? We do. See, they wouldn't let us explain that. Now, Diboll takes, they take care of theirs. But still, we help them out, on certain things. So what I'm saying is, we have a whole lot more citizens to take care of. We have 5 deputies, and that's the same shift as nearly 23 years ago. Now, everybody knows in 23 years, this county's grown in population. So that's why, again, I go back to why I was up there doing what I was doing. And Brother Vic was there, your Brother Steve was there, and Don was there. There was a lot of you probably were there, and I just don't remember you, but you just don't know, how much that means to me. Like I said, that keeps me going. Somebody else? It's time to ask.
What is the very top priority of the sheriff's department? Is it more hands on deck? Is it room for prisoners? Is it equipment? What's the number one largest need?
Well, let me tell you, you just got to keep me off something else. That's a good question. Do you know how many employees I've been through since I've taken office, 2013? Count the jail, count the sheriff department. I have been through 148 employees, over 145. I lost 10 or so to school districts. The schools pay about $8,000 to $9,000 more than the county does. The commissioners just voted in their workers out there, nothing against them. They do a good job, and you may have relatives that don't take, I'm just honest. When I tell things, so don't get mad about it, because I'm just going to tell you what they did. The truth is they went in there and they took their workers out there, they're out there working and shoving the asphalt, the holes, and driving truck, all that kind of stuff. They upped their salary more than my deputies in January, start January. They are going to make more than my deputies. They jumped their salary up over $1,100 to do it. Now, do you think that's right? Here I have a hard time hiring deputies. Now I'm losing them to school district because they pay more. And now if you work for the county commissioner, you're going to make more. That's not right, folks.
But don't you have problems with the county commission people?
The commissioners?
Yeah, don't they give you a hard time?
Yeah. They really do. They really do. And you know what? That's up to the folks. That's
You
really,
get rid of the commissioners.
that's up to the folks. And I'm just being honest, and I appreciate your honesty. But you know what? That's not, I knew something was wrong because when it was in the paper, they said what they were going to do, they were going to take salary money, and they were going to go in there because some of the employees were not being paid the same. And I read that, and I said, nah, something ain't right. So me and my staff and my administration read that, and I said, no, something's up with me. So we waited till the whole thing was finalized, and I went down there and got a copy of the salary that, for 19, and I got it, and I got back, and I looked at it, and I couldn't believe it. I read that, and I just called everybody in there, and I said, look at this. And it is, I said, how do you think the deputy's going to feel see this, know this? But I went to them, and their morale is still good. They love law enforcement, they love serving the people, but man, it's not right. One of them gets out there and gets killed in line of duty. That kind of thing ain't right. And like I said, when I told you the numbers, go back to that. So if you ask, now, used to, I would have said the manpower, but now the deputies are like, Sheriff, we really, because we took a poll of the deputies when I did that over a year ago. They said, Sheriff, we really need more manpower. Without the fact that one of our vehicles, remember, got shot up 69 times, down around one of those disturbance calls. And because he was by himself till he could get back up there. And we had other agencies, other deputies, there was three working, and like Vic was asking, and they were tied up on major calls themselves. So anyway, when all that happened, they were for manpower. But now, we have went another nearly 2 years and see their salary is just way down. We're losing them to all these other agencies and schools and everything else. And so now we're going to tackle the salary. I mean, we need both. But that's gonna be a tough thing, because that's where Don, he's gonna have he's gonna have his hands full trying to figure this out.
Since you mentioned salary, your man is a member of our church.
Yes.
What's it, he a lieutenant?
He's a lieutenant.
How long has he been there?
Ooh, Lord, how long?
14 years.
14
Years. What did he make a year?
His is 36.
It's 40.
40, no, 40, you're mistaken, 40, yeah, 40. Yeah, I say that, sorry. His is 40, he's been there that long.
What could we do as a group of citizens, who do we talk to help you get some of this stuff?
Well, it goes back to what this lady just said. Government is only as good as what the people want it to be. If you want good government, you vote good people in. If you want shaggy government, you vote shaggy people in, or people who just don't have the education to do it, and you have problems.
There's nobody we can
No.
write a letter to or anything like that?
Well, you could write the commissioners, but, they're not, they did during the manpower issue. It really gets down to vote, And you've been sitting on TV, things I've been talking about. It really, the election process is, but a lot of people, the problem is, a lot of these positions, I will say this, the problem is you can't get a lot of good people, and Mitchell would tell you can't get a lot of people to run, good people to run for these positions, because they don't want to have to go through all what I've had to go through, and some of the hassle you have to go through, or this, because I try to do this job as fair and as honest and open, and I still make people mad. Because there's always somebody out there wanting you to do something you cannot do legally. And I try to sit down and explain it to them, and some of them you just, you can talk to them till you blue in the face, and you never know, man. But most of, a lot of people though are not. Most people are really good out here, really. Most people are good in law enforcement. We have to remind ourselves of that, because we deal with so many bad people. But really, that's what I tell the deputies, and I keep them on, try to keep them on, on the right path, and say, hey, look, there's good people out there, remember that. They support us, and they're behind us, and they praying for you, and they care about you, and do never lose sight of that, because there is a lot of bad ones, and these drugs has brought a lot of that on too. But, really the vote is gonna, you could write it, but a lot of it's just, when these elections come around 2 years down the road, people need to take it serious. And a lot of times, people don't take it serious. What do? They vote for the one that, oh, I know that guy, he's a good guy, Now, they don't look at the qualifications or anything of that nature. And so, somebody else have a good question? Okay.
Not being from here, it's a little bit, maybe a dumb question, kind of curious for me. I don't know the difference between a Lufkin police car, a Hudson police car. Now, the state troopers have got their name on it.
Right.
Or, what's a county, what isn't, what's sheriff's patrol? It's all white.
Okay,
I mean, I'm from the state of Washington.
Okay.
I'm used to a different kind of
Well,
car.
The city police mainly are, for the most part, have been blue. A lot of them may be white and blue, but they handle just things within the city. But your county sheriff, like I say, is very unique, because in Texas it's elected by the people. And the sheriff is responsible for the whole county, for law enforcement. And that covers everything from the patrol to dispatch to serving civil papers, warrants. It covers his investigators, they investigate major crimes and small crimes. And then he is also over all the animal control for the county, any kind of animal issues. And that's very costly for the county also. That's one of our big costs. Huh? The sheriff is responsible for all that, and then he hires people to handle those issues. Then the sheriff has the jail in Texas. The sheriff is over the jail, and the jail is a big burden. If you look at the stats, the jail in the state of Texas, 70% of lawsuits occur out of the jail. A jail is a big responsibility, and for a sheriff, most sheriffs, which they never had a jail, but they're over the jail. And then the sheriff is responsible for, dealing with all the elected officials and the public and, all these major issues that come up. He's also, has to work well with the federal government, the feds, ICE, and that's something I will cover about ICE. That I'll tell you a change there. And then dealing with your cities within the county. And Angelina County, they can tell you, is very unique because we have, a lot of counties do not have that many city police. Some don't have any at all. But like Angelina County, you've got Huntington, you've got Diboll, and you've got Savala. And so you have, several cities but then you got Lufkin, the city of Lufkin.
Those are all blue and white?
Some, they kind of vary. It varies. But most cities usually have a blue.
Hudson, I think, is black.
Yeah, I think it is. And see, ours is black and white.
Oh.
Yeah. They have white doors with black on the rest of the vehicle, so.
I know some of them might pick up kids in a minute.
Okay.
About 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you about ICE real quick.
Right.
And what else was it?
Introduce Don to it.
Yeah, I will. Let me tell you about ICE real quick. ICE is, you've been hearing a lot about this immigration. The immigration is a big deal right now, and as y'all seen with the caravan and all that. Whenever Trump got elected, within about 2 months, ICE totally changed. So I just want to let you know that now, when anybody's arrested that comes into jail, that possibly could be illegal. It doesn't matter what the charge is now. It used to, it had to be a felony. But any kind of charge, if we find out they're illegal, ICE wants to know about it, and they do their own check and to see, because they have more information than the local law enforcement may have. And if that person is wanted by them or is a danger to our, society here or our county, they will come in. That is a total change that occurred when Trump took over. That is a good thing for the safety for the citizens. Okay, now Don Lymberry. Don's a good man, and I'll let him talk for himself, but he's going to be the county judge starting January.
First of all, I've got to apologize. I've been at an Eagle Scout board of review. I'm one of the reviewers. We were supposed to have one this evening. We ended up having 3 to talk to this evening. So we talked to these extremely outstanding young people and get them into the highest plateau of scouting that they can get into. Several things positive. We've had, there's a lot of negative things going on right now with the county, particularly with law enforcement. Several things that are positive, something that's been in the works that's getting ready to happen next year is a communication situation with the Sheriff's Department. Is getting ready to get a lot better. We're putting up new towers that are going to be going in this next year. The communication system is going to improve communications between the different law enforcement agencies. The way you're talking about the question you were asking about the deputies being so separated and everything, a lot of that, if the deputies cannot talk to dispatch properly, if they're in the lower end of the county, they've lost all communications. Now, the improvement is going to be, they're going to be able to talk on their lapel mic to the walkie-talkies and be able to have a direct contact with the dispatcher at Sheriff's Department all the time with no interruptions. So this is going to be a real big improvement, plus all the constables and everybody else will be able to communicate a lot better. The sheriff and I have already been talking about how to get some deputies without waiting until next year when the budget comes around. We're already working on several things to try to get some more patrol deputies in the field. And that's going to happen. I think we've got some things worked out that's going to happen. Now, the Commissioner's Court, in answer to your question, there has been a lot of discussion about the Commissioner's Court. It is my hope, and I'm already having assurances from the commissioners that have been uncooperative, that they're gonna be a lot more cooperative, because they can see that there is a tremendous change coming from the county judge part. Now, county judge has 4 commissioners and the county judge. County judge does not have a vote unless there is a tie. And I've already been told that do you understand the power of 3? Okay, there's got to be a quorum. There's got to be a vote of 3 in order to get something done with Commissioners Court. But I am completely assured that we're going to have a lot better year this next year. And at the end of next year, there is going to be a different budget. And the Sheriff's Department and law enforcement in general. Law enforcement improving does not just have to do with boots on the ground. If y'all hadn't been in the DA's office up in the courthouse, it is absolutely ridiculous. You can't go out there and arrest people and then have the district attorneys not being able to actually move around in their office. You can't even move in the hallway up there. It's terrible. It is so crowded. It is such a bad working condition. And that's something else that I'm going to be addressing immediately. But instead of me up here beating my chest, why don't I just take questions? I'll be glad to answer any questions. Y'all are the ones that I'm answering to. And I will be more than happy to address any of your concerns. Being brand new to coming into the office, there's a lot of answers I may not have, but I can tell you this. I've been going to Commissioners Court for 12 years, and I've been going learning. Some good things I've seen, and some things not so good, okay? But there is going to be change. There is going to be change, I guarantee you. I was elected for that change, and that's going to happen. Yes, sir.
The main thing I really like about you, and we've done a lot of research, and we've talked to you before, and that thing I really like, you're going to be totally different from the other judge. We didn't seem to have our own safety of our families on his mind at all. Because he turned down that budget, a penny, a person, a penny, per person. Anybody would pay that kind of money to have safety for your family. So,
Well,
I'm thankful you're coming in, because I know who you are, and I know what you want to do.
there's going to be a different attitude and a different feeling in the Commissioners Court. I can tell you that right off. It's going to be a much more open court. We're going to make several changes immediately. We're going to reactivate the public forum. I don't know that I can get this done, but I would like to have one of the 2 Commissioners Court meetings that we have. We have 2 a month. I would like to have one of them at 5 o'clock. I would like to have it more open where the public could participate more. I'm hoping to get that done. The commissioners are the ones that's going to have the final say, but that's what my hope is. Yes, sir.
Now, how about a quick history for you as far as your qualifications?
Background?
Bring your mic up a little closer.
You want me to say?
I don't hear you.
Normally, I don't have any problem with people hearing me, okay? So, using the mic, I'm not quite used to it. My background is 45 years in business here locally. I've had multiple manufactured housing lots with upwards of 25 to 30 employees. But I've also retired from the Air Force Reserve. I was active duty during Vietnam. I had 2 tours during Vietnam in country. I had a 19-year absence. I felt like something was missing. I went back into the Air Force, joined just in time to step right off into Desert Storm. I was in the desert for a year, and I had they kept me in and out of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iraq for that year. But I went ahead and retired this time. I stayed with it and retired. At retirement, I was the first sergeant over a squadron and dealing with personnel of 380 people. So I I'm used to dealing with personnel problems, and that's not an issue with me. I'm also married, grandchildren, children, and I have a farm out in the Moffett River bottom of 230 acres. So I'm also tree farmer and used to be a cattle rancher. I don't have time anymore. What else? Yes, sir.
John, would we be able to ask questions to the commissioners in the commissioners court?
What I've got in mind is this. Now, this is a little different. I've been talking to a lot of other judges across the state. I just got finished yesterday in Tyler at a judges conference learning what the other new judges are going to be coming into. What I've got in mind is the public forum has always been at the end of the commissioner's court where you could get up and make comments, okay, about something that was discussed during the court. That's never made any sense to me. Why in the world get up and make a comment about something that's already been voted on? It doesn't make any sense to me. My plan is to have a public forum, all right, but to have the public forum at the start of the meeting where anybody that's got a concern about something that's on the program, any of the 15 or 16 items, you could address that item for 2 minutes, get up and tell your concerns about it before the voting takes place. Then the commissioners will hear the concerns of the public and find out for sure, I thought I supported this, but I'm not so sure if there's this many concerns about it, you know, and they will dig into the issue and actually ask questions about it. That is one of the changes that I'm talking about making, and then be able to address those issues where now they take, Judge Souter took the public forum completely out because he didn't want to hear any gripes or concerns about it. He just wanted to do things the way he wanted to do it. But that's going to change. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see in our area, they waste too much money. They waste more time than they do work. They'll send 10 people, well, not 10, but they'll send 5 or 6 out to do a job 2 people ought to be able to do. 4 or 5 pieces of equipment. That's one of the reasons that our roads are in such bad shape.
Yes, sir. There is, the commissioners are all individually voted on every 4 years. They have 4-year terms just like I do, but they swap over. You know, we'll have another 2 of our commissioners will come back up for election in 2 years. That is the time to make those changes. The commissioners that don't get on board with the new program are going to be under the gun. I can tell you right quick. They're gonna have to answer to y'all, you know. But in answer to that, I'm not a judge that's going to stay in the office. I'm out around the county. I will go to the individual barns and everything. I pop in and out of different places. I'm rural, so I understand a lot more about what goes on in the county. I haven't lost anything at Crown Colony, okay? I rarely ever go out there except for a meeting. But I will go to Sabala, Huntington, Central, big city of Moffett. But yeah, there's got to be some tightening up in these barns and the work crews. I'm gonna be very critical. I'm gonna be very critical of what I've been seeing in the county. You know, when I hear that they're playing dominoes all day long because it's raining, there ought to be something that could be being done in the barn. So yes, sir, your concern is right on.
Well, you know, if we had someone that could visit all the commissioners and see how they're doing work, I think and let them make recommendations for improvement. Some of that stuff is 40, 50 years old that they're trying to
Now, you talking about the actual infrastructure, the roads and everything? Yeah. Yeah. And one thing I've learned throughout my 70-some odd years is you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and hope that things are going to improve. We're going to have to make some changes. And the changes are going to happen. Now, exactly to what extent those changes are going to be, I can't tell you right now. But there is going to be every effort to try to get some improvement done. This next year, even though they couldn't budget any raises in for county employees, they were able to amass some big raises into Road and Bridge. And that basically happened for the two commissioners that are looking at being reelected in 2 years, because they were very concerned about their road situation, particularly Precinct 3 and 4, concerned about what's going on with their roads. And so they're going to be, this next year, when it finally quits raining, which I'm beginning to wonder if it's ever going to, but when it quits raining, there's going to be a big push on hopefully getting a lot of the roads repaired. Now, are they going to be completely just patching like what they've been doing? I think there's going to be a lot of that until we can actually make some changes in the thought processes. And it may be changing some foremans, it may be changing some commissioners, and it may be changing the whole mindset in a particular barn. But there's going to be some pressures there to get that done. Now, I can tell you this. What I've learned in the Air Force and in government in general, things don't happen overnight. But I am going to be pushing at that snake. I'm going to be trying to do everything I can to get the changes done. And we're not going to wait until the next budget period. We're going to go ahead and try to get some changes implemented immediately if we can. Who else? Yes, sir.
One time we had a reserve deputy program.
Yeah.
Do we still have that? Did it work? Or
It worked, but I'm going to let the sheriff address that because we've talked about this.
Yeah, we do. We still have the reserve. And the thing is, we had to come in there and trim a lot because a lot of them were on our list, but they never showed up. I never even saw them. Some of them for 6 months or a year that never showed up, so we got rid of them. And we got strict rules that if you're going to reserve, you're going to work, and you're going to put in, 16 hours a month, or we're not going to hold your commission. Because see, as a sheriff, when you hold somebody's commission, then you're putting yourself at liability, because you're going to make sure that employee, because they're really not employed, they're reserved, they're volunteering their time, but still you're holding their commission. So you got to make sure they're doing everything properly and not putting the county, in a bad predicament, and they're living to this higher standard, just like our other deputies, because I don't want somebody out there misbehaving, if they're going to wear a gun and badge. And so we do have them, we just don't have as many of them, but we're trying to build it up.
We're talking about schools, and we're talking about basically law enforcement. When we were kids, none of our schools had police forces.
No, we just had paddles.
Yeah, we didn't need it, and capital punishment, from the principal and so on was a lot different back then. Look at the changes in the last 15 years and what we're looking at that's going on in our schools, and then think just a minute about what's going on our streets out there with the drug problem. And then look at the fact that there's not been any change basically for 21 years with the sheriff's department and increased deputies out there. You're not just talking about boots on the ground. You need investigators. There's all kinds of changes that need to take place. It's going to take time, but it's got to happen. It's got to happen. If we're going to keep y'all safe, it's got to happen. It's just got to. We're past the point of no return. It's got to happen. And it's the same way with the jail. We cannot send people or turn people out of the jail because we're overcrowded. That's not the answer. Another question. Make them tough. Make them tough.
Well, how do you get another jail built?
Well, it's gonna be,
That's too tough. I mean,
Well,
if
no,
somebody-
no, that is a good
If we're
question.
paying money to send our prisoners to other counties, if we had a bigger one, wouldn't they pay to send them to us, and that would be an income?
Many
It's not rocket science.
years ago, that's exactly what we did. We used to house prisoners from all these other counties because we had this great jail that we had right here in Angelina County, and we were tickled to death with it. We were so proud of it. But look at what's happened over the last 12 years. We've had a county judge in there over the last 12 years. Bless his heart. Yeah. Bless his heart. He's a good guy. But he and I are totally different people. There has not been any real infrastructure change in the county. Now, nobody wants taxes to go up. Nobody wants to spend money. But you're right with the comment about waste over there. There has been a lot of waste. And there needs to be a lot of tightening up. But there also needs to be some big changes made. We're looking at, we've got a jail downtown that's got 106 beds in it that has been padlocked for over 10 years now, and nobody has been allowed to go in it. I'm asking the same question. I've been told to stay out of it. Trust me, on the 1st of January,
You're gonna take a tour.
there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some things. I am a person that thinks outside the box. I'm a business person. I don't see any sense. Now, that jail down there has its problems. The jail commission is not going to approve it immediately just to move prisoners in there. Plus, we don't have the jail staff to staff that. It's a process that you need to start looking at to get these things fixed.
The money
And
you're
we're
paying
already
now.
addressing these issues. Now, eventually, we're going to have to add to the jail. And when you get ready to do that, there's several ways to do it. You can actually make enough money in the county to pay for it yourself, or you can do bond issues. There's a lot of different things, but those are all going to be addressed, and the best thing for the county is going to be the way we're going to go. And it will actually go before the people. There's not going to be anything done without y'all's approval. Y'all are going to have a say in what we're doing in county government. What else? Yes, sir.
Is the old jail downtown, is county still on it, or is it privately owned?
No, there's two old jails. The one directly behind the courthouse that is completely fallen down, and we've got 2 or 3 offices in it. It's a waste. It needs to be bulldozed, okay? But the one across the street has 18 offices in the sheriff's administration building right there, and nobody's in there. That's been totally wasted. That building has just been allowed to dilapidate, okay? Now, the jail itself, it's all county property. It's all county property. Before I ran for this office, the first thing I did was go and look at every piece of county property that they had. The pluses, the negatives, finding out where the weaknesses were and finding out where the strengths were. And the strengths of Angelina County, I can tell you right now, is its people. You know, the employees, the Angelina County employees are dedicated. They're good people. If they don't want to work and if they're not good, they don't last very long. I can tell you that. But the strengths are the people. We've got some issues to contend with as far as facilities, and that's going to be something that I'll definitely be working on.
I got one.
Yes, sir.
We just moved to the area.
Welcome to East Texas.
Well, I'm from Washington State.
I won't hold that against you.
We live on Lancewood Circle, and I think that's in the city of Hudson as far as government goes.
Right.
But I've been told that the road district is not handled by the city, but by the county. I don't know how much there is to that, but all I know is when we're right on a turn on the circle.
Right.
And there's a sewer there that is a real speed bump, actually, because it sits that much higher than the road is. And
Lance?
the road is caving off literally on both sides.
Lancewood is a good example of what we're talking about. You've got these cities like Hudson that don't have the budget for their own road crews and things like that.
Right.
And the county will come in through cooperation with the cities a lot of times, and we will cooperate with some reconstruction and things like this. And then it's supposed to be reimbursed. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But that's all management.
So then our taxes that we're paying that's supposed to help on that, does that go into the city or into the county budget?
Goes into the county and the city also. The city also has their own, when the taxes come in, you gotta understand that 13% of all the taxes that go into the state will go to the city of Lufkin. 16% will go to a school district. 17% will go to the county. It's all, and it has to do, each year this changes.
Well, that's why I was curious to ask this question, because I had an assessor that came around the district and he stopped and took pictures and all this. And so I asked him about that road condition there. He said, yeah, about fell off the ditch when I made the turn, but he said, but that's county, you don't have to worry about that. Yeah. But everybody that lives out there says the same old thing, and I've never seen a county rig come out there other than Encore to work.
There has to be request from the city usually that's gonna come back and make the request on that. And it's a cooperative type of thing. Yeah.
Okay. So if we complain, who do we complain to?
Complain to the commissioner. Complain to your commissioner in that particular area. That particular area is precinct 1.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Mr. Greg Harrison. Phone number, no,
Write this down.
I just want to say, Midget, obviously her, she's always been a friend of mine, and she worked for the county, and she was a good lady, and still is a good lady, and did a good job. She did a good job, though.
How were y'all feeling, that, you know?
Huh?
Finally got her voted out.
Yeah. But no,
that was cold.
I was gonna say though, Vinci, you did a good job with the county, and you understand this system and how it's not easy, is it? But there has to be change.
The common ground that we, three of us would have had is that it's countywide.
Yes.
The number one thing is you have to remember you're serving all the county, and that's not the easiest job, and for any of them.
Oh, you're right. Last year, just a little, it's not really a negative thing, but Angelina County has next to the lowest tax rate of our 9-county area of everything in East Texas. We try to compare everything to East Texas to our neighbors in Jasper, St. Augustine, Nacogdoches. We have next to the lowest rate. Last year, our judge at Commissioner's Court elected to decrease that even more, knowing full well that there was a lot of infrastructure changes that needed to take place. Now, next year, they're going to be able to come around and say, see there, I told you Don Lymberry is going to raise taxes. Well, I can tell you right up front, they should have never reduced it. We already had next to the lowest rate in the area. And, we're going to go up a little bit this next year. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's going to go up to where we were over the last couple of years. But just that little bit of change right there means a big change over here. So when you see that, just tell your friends and neighbors, hey, it had to happen.
Is that it?
All right,
Anybody else?
let's end this way. If y'all could just go right down there in the middle, and then and we can kind of gather around them. We'll close with prayer. Brother Vic, would you talk about, well, you was talking to the Lord, but you lead us in this prayer, please.
We include our trooper here too.
Yes, sir.
Got it here? Okay. Heavenly Father, we thank you for a place like this and a pastor where we can come and be open and hear these things we've heard tonight. Now, Lord, we pray for these men. Lord, I thank you for Greg. For many years I've known him. And Lord, I know he's got a big job, so I pray for him, Lord. I pray for his wife, his family, all that happens around him, for all this truth, Lord. For this one's here tonight, Lord, that you keep them all safe tonight, Lord. And Lord, I pray for a miracle in the sheriff's department this next year, Lord, as far as manpower, Lord. Lord, I pray for Don. Thank you for him, Lord. And I pray for him now, Lord, as I thought today how to pray for him. I pray for wisdom, Lord, that he'd know what to do, Lord. Lord, I pray that you help him to stand up when he needs to stand up, sit down when he needs to sit down, speak up when he needs to speak up, and be quiet when nothing needs to be said. Lord, help him to be a good leader for our county, Lord. And Lord, we don't want to criticize and bash anyone that's going out, Lord. We pray for the man that's stepping aside, Lord. We pray for him and his family, Lord. We pray for the Commissioner's Court. We pray, God, that they would cooperate. Father, I pray that a spirit of unity would come around Don Lymberry and these commissioners the first day they get together. And I pray that that spirit of cooperation will be seen by the people in this county. We love you and trust you. Lord, some trust in chariots and some in horses. But we trust in the name of Almighty Yahweh God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.